Everyone experiences anger occasionally or a feeling where you're triggered. Your emotions get the best of you. It's a very common human response, but we don't have to allow it. You can learn to manage your emotions better so that you can show up diplomatically and more persuasively in all of your interactions. So stay tuned because I'm going to share 5 simple steps you can start today to take better control of your emotions and improve your relationships. Most adults don't recognize anger specifically in their life. They don't feel angry. But I bet if you think about it, you can think of some circumstances where you felt triggered, where you overreacted to a circumstance, a situation, because of something that evolved or something someone did. Typically, it's something out of your control, and that angers us or causes us to overreact emotionally. The first step to getting a handle on this is to just take an inventory. Give yourself a couple of days and just look for situations and common threads where you become triggered, even just a little bit. And if you don't come up with anything in a few days, that's amazing. Give yourself a week. Most people, if you haven't worked on this before, will recognize some things if you're honest. Now, it could be that you are in the habit of repressing your emotions, biting your tongue, if you will, so you get emotional but you don't speak up. That doesn't count. What I'm talking about is not only biting your tongue, but calming your emotions so that you can speak, but you're not going to be overly emotional when you speak. So give yourself a few days to do that inventory and do not judge yourself when you feel like you have a heightened overreactive emotion. I would guess that just from building this awareness, you will overreact less often or by smaller amounts because you're building your awareness. You're not just falling into that thought habit that is creating that overreactiveness to begin with. So look for common threads. Is there a particular person, such as a family member, or is there particular types of circumstances that tend to trigger you? And then drill down on that because it's not the circumstance or the person. It's your perception of what's going on that causes the emotion. Think about that for a minute. Someone else could be in those same exact circumstances and not get upset by them because they are thinking about them in a different way. So think about what it is you're thinking that is causing you to get reactive. Quite often, the things that trigger us are things that are outside of our control. Whether it's a circumstance or, as I mentioned, quite often a family member, if it's something that we can't control, a quick tip here is to learn to let go of your attachment to control. Now, I say that's a quick tip. It's not quick to implement. It's very hard to get in the habit of letting go of attachment. But that's something you really want to strive to do because if you can't control it, there's no point in getting upset about it. So after you take your inventory and you recognize some common themes, and you drill down and you recognize the thoughts you're holding about those common themes, I want you to brainstorm how else you could perceive those circumstances so that you are not as reactive, so it doesn't bother you as much. You may not be happy about it, but if you can view it from a more neutral perspective so that you can remain calm, that's always really beneficial because when we get overly emotional, we can't think clearly. It's like our brain shuts down because all of our energy is going into that emotional force. So you want to try and calm your emotions so you can think clearly and then respond appropriately rather than overreacting. So you don't have to allow a situation to go on. If you feel like you're being taken advantage of or someone is disrespecting your boundaries, you don't have to let that go. But you want to address it from a place of calm rather than creating a fight out of it. So once you determine how you might view that circumstance from a more neutral perspective, then you have to remind yourself to practice. The next time anything comes up and you start to feel an emotion you don't want to feel, check your thoughts and move them to something more neutral. This isn't as hard as it sounds once you've practiced because your thoughts tend to be habitual. And once you recognize what you're doing and you make a habit of moving your thoughts or your perspective to something more neutral, that will become your new habit. And you will be able to remain calm in very stressful circumstances. You'll be surprised. So go ahead and let me know if you have any questions on this topic. Let me know in comments. And I'm just going to recap this 5-step process for you so you make sure you didn't miss anything. This is all you need to do. And remember, it's a skill you're developing, so don't beat yourself up when you're not very good at it in the beginning. The first thing you do is build awareness. You just look for opportunities to practice managing your emotions. Then you want to look for common threads, what your thoughts are about those circumstances, and then you want to choose a new perspective that you can hold in those circumstances. And this is, again, a skill, even if you have different circumstances that come up that start to trigger you, you'll find that you fall into that evaluation thought loop, and you'll immediately go toward evaluating your thoughts in new circumstances as well if you notice an unpleasant feeling coming up. So you pick a new perspective you're going to hold, and then step number 4 is to practice, and step number 5 is to celebrate your awareness and ongoing improvements. Don't ever beat yourself up, but celebrate your success every step of the way. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.